ഇപ്പൊ ക്ലിയർ ആണോ?
അല്ല മാം, ഇപ്പോഴും ഫീബിളാ.
എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ചിലപ്പം ഹെഡ്ഫോൺ അങ്ങനെ ഹെഡ്ഫോണിൽ നിന്ന് ആയിരിക്കത്തില്ല ഇപ്പോഴും എടുക്കുന്നത്. മേ ബി ഡയറക്ട്ലി ത്രൂ ലാപ്ടോപ്പ് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് കമ്മിങ്. പ്ലഗ്ഡ് ഇൻ ആണെങ്കിലും sometimes that can happen. നിങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരുടെയും ഫോൺ സൗണ്ട് ഒന്ന് കൂട്ടാവോ? Put it to maximum maybe. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഹെഡ്ഫോൺ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഒന്ന് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുക. Okay, let's begin. It is audible. ഇപ്പം you're on mute.
കേൾക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ? ഇപ്പൊ ഓക്കെ ആണോ? കേൾക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ?
യെസ് മാം, യെസ്.
Okay. So, yeah, I would definitely like to thank the Department of English for the invitation, and I'm really happy to be part of the creative writing workshop, which is something which I guess Biju had been coordinating for the past 2 years, and I really appreciate the department, and also I really thank the students for taking pains to be part of creative writing, especially on an online mode after regular classes in the morning. I know that it's quite tiring to sit for maybe another 1.5 hours listening to yet another teacher bragging about literature and poetry, but still I really do appreciate the effort and the pain which you have taken to listen to me, and also I thank the department for the invitation. Presentation clear ആണല്ലോ അല്ലേ? കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ PPT? See, the thing is, okay, thank you. Please do respond, because I am actually looking at the PPT and talking to you, so I won't be able to see the chat box. So if you want to ask me something, if you want to make any comments in between, please do unmute your mic and say whatever you want. You're always welcome. Now, before I move into what I really want to do today, which I really want to be different from what we usually, or what I usually do in poetry sessions, I just want to introduce, I just want you to ask yourself why you are attending a session on poetry writing, and if at all, poetry is a relevant discipline today. Because, as part of a survey which I did a couple of years ago, and also when I talk with my students at BCN College, I've often, they have often told me that they seldom read poetry. And students, they are so honest. One thing which I like about youngsters is that you people are really honest with your views. So whenever I ask them, they tell me, മിസ്സേ മനസ്സിലാകത്തില്ല, പിന്നെ എന്തിനാണ് കവിത വായിക്കുന്നത്? It's better to do something, read something which you can understand. You don't understand poetry at all, so why do you have to spend time on reading something which you do not really understand? So that is actually true. I mean, it's true that you cannot really understand poetry. And in comparison to other genres which are prosaic, for example, short stories or novels or novellas or non-fiction, you would, even though sometimes it might be boring, you really get to know what you're reading. But that's not true when it comes to poetry, especially when you have poems, as part of your syllabus. Especially for PG students, certain poems are so baffling that you don't really know if you are teaching students what the poet really wanted to. So when it comes to teachers also, there is the same problem. Very few teachers, take effort and pains to go through poems. But that is when, this is actually true, and that was a baffling question for me also. And I used to wonder, how can I answer students, or what can I tell them when they tell me they don't understand poetry, and that is why they don't read poems. That is when I came across this man called Dan Shalotti. I quote Dan Shalotti for all the poetry classes that I take, because he has actually made that particular statement, which helped me to understand why I read poetry. You know, I read poetry because not because I can understand poetry, not because I really want to understand each and every line in a poem, but because poetry understands me. This is true. Dan Charlotte is basically a professor at Ames University, and he's also a known poet. And he says poetry understands you. Now, see, this is why this is because, you know, poetry is basically something which you can call a product of emotions, of moods, of feelings. നമുക്ക് നല്ല സങ്കടം, നമുക്ക് ഭയങ്കര സങ്കടമുള്ള സമയത്ത് നമ്മൾ സാധാരണ ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്താണ്? ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളോട് തന്നെ ചോദിക്കുകയാണ്. നിങ്ങളിപ്പോൾ 13 കുട്ടികളുണ്ട്. And what do you do when you are depressed? So this is going to be a dialogue, okay? Because basically, you know, this is not an offline class, this is an online class, and we have been taking online classes for the past 1 year. So we know very well what happens behind the scene in an online class. We have also been online students for, courses like refresher courses, etc. And we really know what we do when we are attending online classes. So I really would like you to be here virtually and also physically, so that this will be an interactive session. ഇതൊരു വളരെ ഈസി ആയിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ക്വസ്റ്റൻ ആണ് ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചത്. വലിയ കടുകെട്ട് ചോദ്യമൊന്നുമല്ല. അതുകൊണ്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആൻസർ പറയാം. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സങ്കടം വരുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ എന്താണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് സാധാരണ? ലിസൺ ടു മ്യൂസിക്. എല്ലാവരും അങ്ങനെയാണോ? ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് എവറിബഡി. Even if you raise hands, you know, I won't be able to see it. But എല്ലാവരും അങ്ങനെയാണോ? എല്ലാവരെയൊക്കെ ഒന്ന് അൺമ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്തു.
I write
Yes,
poetry.
ma'am.
Like I write sometimes.
You write poetry. May I know your name, please?
Arya.
Arya. Okay. So Arya writes poetry. And then there are people who listen.
Trying actually.
You're trying to write poetry.
I write when I said. I meant that. I write.
Okay. ഞാൻ പണ്ട് അങ്ങനെ എഴുതുമായിരുന്നു കേട്ടോ. അമ്മയോട് നല്ലപോലെ വഴക്കുണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ട് പോയി കുത്തിയിരുന്ന് എഴുതുമായിരുന്നു. അമ്മ എങ്ങനെയാണ്, അമ്മ ഇങ്ങനെയാണ്, ഞാൻ അങ്ങനെയാണ്, ഞാൻ വളരെ നല്ലതാണ്, മറ്റേതാണ് മറിച്ചതാണ്, അമ്മ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇങ്ങനെയാണോ, ലോകത്തിൽ അമ്മമാർ എത്രയോ ഉണ്ട്, എനിക്ക് കിട്ടിയ അമ്മ ഇങ്ങനെയാണല്ലോ എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് സാധനം എഴുതിട്ട് ഞാൻ തന്നെ ചവിട്ടി വലിച്ചു പറിച്ച് കീറി ചവറ്റുകൊട്ടയിലിട്ട് കളയുമായിരുന്നു. Spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions without any recollection in tranquility. അങ്ങനത്തെ കവിതകൾ ഇഷ്ടം പോലെ എഴുതിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആക്ച്വലി ഒരു ഡയറി നിറച്ച് അങ്ങനത്തെ കവിതകൾ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അത് 2012 ഞാൻ കത്തിച്ച് കളയുകയും ചെയ്തു. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സംഭവം ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. So those poems were all burnt because afterwards I felt I've written just rubbish. But still, you know, I always made it a point, as Arya said, to write down when I am sad. And as you said, as almost all of you said, we all go and listen to music when we are sad. സന്തോഷം വരുമ്പോൾ, ഭയങ്കര സന്തോഷം വരുമ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ ഏകദേശം ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ തന്നെ ചെയ്യാറുണ്ട്. എഴുതുന്നത് കുറവായിരിക്കും സന്തോഷം വരുമ്പോൾ, പക്ഷേ പാട്ട് കേൾക്കാൻ, ഡാൻസ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ ശ്രമിക്കാറുണ്ട്. Because basically, you know, art is always connected with emotions. And poetry is the most emotional art in the world. Because poetry is basically of feelings, of emotions. And poetry is basically what you always, poetry is, of all the genres in literature, poetry is something which can easily speak to you when you are sad, when you are angry, when you are happy, no matter what the emotion is. And personally speaking, I always come back to Kamala Das, because this might be different for different people. You know, you would all have different poets who you are familiar with, who you read. For me, it is all, even though I try to read, poets like Patricia, or maybe Neruda or Rumi, or people from the past or present or future. I always come back to Kamala Das because her poems in one way or the other connect to my emotions, connect with my emotions. Kamala Das would have written a poem, maybe for instance an introduction, or a poem titled Words, or maybe My Grandmother's House, etc., in a different kind of circumstance, or with a different emotion or mood, which was kind of making her write the poem. And today when I read her poem, I might be reading it from a different circumstance. But still, you know, I feel she connects. I feel that I can connect with what she has said. I feel that she has actually written down what I feel and cannot express. So that is a wonderful book which I want to show you, and if possible, I would definitely recommend the library to get this. It is titled How to Read a Poem, and it's by Edward Hirsch. How to read a poem and fall in love with poetry. So Edward Hirsch is actually written about what I said right now. He says poetry is basically a community participation kind of a thing. You know, the reader is as essential a participant in the very act of writing down a poem, because unless and until the reader starts feeling connected with the verses, maybe just 10 lines or 15 lines or 20 lines on a page, poetry does not do the purpose for which it had been written down, because there is always this reader participation happening. And when does a reader participate in poetry reading? It is when the reader can connect with what the poet has written down. It is when readers' emotions find a plane similar to the emotions which or mood which have been captured in metaphors or similes on the page. So John Berman, who I'm sure that many of you are familiar with the name John Berman, he was a Pulitzer Prize winner. He had published a collection titled Songs of Dreams. And this is actually a line which I've taken from the preface to Songs of Dreams. He has written, these songs are not meant to be understood. Songs here refer to poems. They are not meant to be, again, understood. They are only meant to terrify and comfort. Basically, terrifying and comforting, cathartic, emotions, pity and fear. ഇതെല്ലാം poetic ആണ്. So why should you read poetry? Why should you attempt to write poetry? Because basically, you know, poetry speaks to you. If you let the poem, if you are a good listener, if you let yourself to be a good listener to poets, you know, poetry will speak to you. And I guarantee you that you won't be able to understand all the lines in any poem. ഒരു കവിത എടുത്തിട്ട് അതിൽ 14 വരികൾ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ 14 വരിയുടെ അർത്ഥം മനസ്സിലാക്കുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നടക്കുന്ന കാര്യമല്ല. And that is not what is intended when you read a poem. A poet never asks you to understand each and every word in a poem. But there is a basic emotion with which you can connect. And that is exactly, you know, the answer to why poetry. Because, you know, it understands you. Basically, why do we all read? Why do we write? Why do we go to college? Why do we study? Why do we interact with people? Because we are always on the lookout for people, for things which can understand you, which can really own you. I mean, at least to some extent, which you can really connect with. ഇതിന്റെ എല്ലാം purpose അതാണ്. So after doing all this, if you're not happy, after gaining a PhD, after, you know, getting a job, after getting married, after getting what you really want in life, if even maybe the highest thing in life, Nobel Prize I got, a Booker Prize I got, I'm talking only from a literary perspective. After getting the highest thing that you can ever get in your discipline, if you're not happy, what was the basic purpose behind all this? So basically, if you cannot find something or someone with which you can connect yourself with, I would say your life is not something which serves the purpose. Adinana creative writing workshop, because in the end, you should have certain skills in you with which you can survive in the world, move beyond disciplinary boundaries, move beyond what the world wants you to achieve, and get really what you want to achieve in life, what you want to become in life. Appa adinana creative writing workshop ennu parayna oru sangathi cheyyunnathu then. It's not simply, you know, more than getting a certificate or more than, you know, being, you know, doing something as part of the NAC criteria. It's basically, you know, a venue in which you really reach for what you really want to in life. So another reason why poetry is there is that it helps you to move beyond ordinary conversations. We all make ordinary conversations. When Biju and I started talking online just before you joined, I made a statement. I said, "Eniki prandana." That is what I said. And I said it as part of a normal conversation. Eniki prandana and Bijunodu parnu kayinal, Biju will understand that as a part of a normal conversation, because we are all actually running around with more than 100 tasks, I would say, in college, like finishing portions, correcting papers, NAC work, that work, this work, etc. So, iniki prantana in a normal conversation, there is just one meaning. And Biju will understand, or the listener will be able to understand, that even though she says that she is mad, she need not be admitted in an asylum. Okay, it is the other pranda which she is referring to. But when the same statement comes as part of a poem, it actually gets that freedom to be interpreted in multiple ways. It helps you to move beyond ordinary conversations. Nandanan Mullambhathinte Komanga എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു പുസ്തകമുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങൾ ആരെങ്കിലും വായിച്ചോ? Anybody who heard this title Komanga? ഒരു വർഷത്തോളമായി ആ ഒരു ടൈറ്റിൽ വരാൻ തുടങ്ങിയിട്ട് പലയിടത്തും. ആരെങ്കിലും കേട്ടിരുന്നോ?
ഇല്ല മാം.
കേട്ടിട്ടില്ല. കോമാങ്ങ എന്നാണ്, DC ബുക്സിൽ കിട്ടും. കോമാങ്ങ എന്നാണ് ആ പുസ്തകത്തിന്റെ പേര്. ഒരു കൊച്ചു പുസ്തകമാണ്, കവിതാ സമാഹാരമാണ്. അപ്പം ഞാൻ നന്ദനമുളമ്പത്തുമായിട്ട് സംസാരിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഞാൻ ഇങ്ങനെ ചോദിക്കാറുണ്ട്, ഇങ്ങനെയാണ് ഇങ്ങനെ എഴുതാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്. ബിക്കോസ് he uses very simple language in poems. Very simple ordinary language ആണ്. Folk songs ആണ് converted into മലയാളം poetry എന്ന് വേണം നമുക്ക് പറയാം. And there is actually a poem which is titled കവി എന്നാണ് ആ കവിതയുടെ ടൈറ്റിൽ. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ കവിത കൃത്യമായിട്ട് ഓർക്കുന്നില്ല, എൻ്റെ പാരഫ്രൈസ് ഏകദേശം ഇതുപോലെ പോകും. അർദ്ധരാത്രിക്ക് ഒരുത്തൻ മൈതാനത്ത് ഇരുന്ന് കരയുന്നവൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് പോലീസുകാരൻ ചെന്ന് ചോദിക്കുന്നു, എന്തിനാ നീ കരയുന്നത്? ഇയാള് പോലീസുകാരനോട് പറയാണ്, ഞാനൊരു കവിയാണ് സാറേ. എന്നാ നീ കരഞ്ഞോ എന്നാണ് പോലീസുകാരന്റെ മറുപടി. അയാൾ പിന്നെയും ഇരുന്ന് കരയുന്നു. ഇത്രേ ഉള്ളൂ കവിത. അർദ്ധരാത്രിക്ക് ഒരാൾ ഇരുന്ന് കരയുമ്പോൾ ഒരു നോർമൽ സിറ്റുവേഷനിൽ ഒരു പോലീസുകാരൻ വന്ന് എന്തിനാണ് കരയുന്നതെന്ന് ചോദിക്കും. നോർമൽ സിറ്റുവേഷനിൽ ഇന്നതാണ് കാരണം എന്ന് ഒരാൾ പറയുമ്പോൾ അതിനു വേണ്ടിയ നടപടി എടുക്കാൻ ബാധ്യസ്ഥനാണ് പോലീസുകാരൻ. എന്നാൽ കവിയാണ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു അസ്തിത്വത്തിന് ആ നോർമാലിറ്റിയെ മറികടക്കാൻ പറ്റും. കാരണം സെന്റിമെന്റാലിറ്റി കവിതയുടെ ഭാഗമാണ്, കവിയുടെ ഭാഗമാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇരുന്ന് കരഞ്ഞോട്ടെ. ഓക്കെ, എങ്ങനെയാണ് വളരെ സാധാരണയായി സംഭവിക്കുന്ന ഒരു സംഗതിയെ അതിൽ നിന്ന് വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ട് അവതരിപ്പിക്കാനായിട്ട് മുള്ളമ്പത്തിന് സാധിച്ചത്? ഇത് വളരെ പല സിഗ്നിഫിക്കേഷൻസ് ഉണ്ട് ആ ഒരു കവിതയ്ക്ക്. ഞാൻ ഒറ്റ കാര്യം മാത്രമേ പറഞ്ഞുള്ളൂ. How you can surpass the normal or ordinary boundaries of poetry, of normal conversations by using poetry. Now, Ted Cohen is actually a very, 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 very famous poet, which I'm sure that you must have at least read one or two poems of Cohen. And he has written in one of his essays titled Metaphor and Cultivation of Intimacy. He says, basically, when you write a poem, the poet being the maker, that is how the Greeks have always, talked about poets. The Greeks considered poets to be makers. So it is actually the maker and the appreciator of the metaphor. Appreciator of the metaphor here refers to the reader. So the poet and the reader are brought into deeper relationship with one another, because basically the poet actually invites the reader to participate with a very conscious effort in delineating the metaphor or the simile or any kind of figures of speech that you find in a poem. So there is actually a community spirit which is established as a connecting bridge between the reader and the poet, and the reader is as important as the poet in the process of signification or in the process of meaning making. So basically, poetry establishes an intimate relationship through words between two people or two communities, the community of writers and the community of readers. And again, when Edward Hirsch says, and it's quite accidental, that some people are the writers and some people are the readers. For instance, if you write a poem and I read the poem, it's quite accidental that you are the writer and I am the reader. Even if it is otherwise, I write a poem and you read the poem. It is an accidental affair that I am the writer and you are the reader. അപ്പൊ ഇത് ബൈ ആക്സിഡന്റ് സംഭവിക്കുന്നതാണ് ഒരാൾ റൈറ്റർ ആകുകയും മറ്റേയാൾ റീഡർ ആയിട്ട് നിൽക്കുകയും ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ ബേസിക്കലി എ റൈറ്റർ. യെസ്,
സ്ലൈഡ്സ് മൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടോ?
ഇല്ല, ഐ മീൻ അല്ലേ
പറയുന്നതായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട സ്ലൈഡ്സ്
ഇതാണ് മെറ്റഫർ ആൻഡ് കൾട്ടിവേഷൻ ഓഫ് ഇന്റിമസി. ആ സ്ലൈഡ് വന്നില്ല.
ഒരു സ്ലൈഡും വന്നില്ല.
ഓ
എനിക്ക് സംശയം തോന്നി. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സ്ലൈഡ് പോയാൽ കാണുന്നുണ്ടോ?
ഇല്ല
ഇല്ല
സാർ.
സാർ.
അയ്യോ, അത് പറയണ്ടായിരുന്നോ?
ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ചു, പക്ഷെ ഇങ്ങനെ ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ ഇച്ചിരി ലെങ്തി ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ വിചാരിച്ചു.
ഒരു സെക്കൻഡ്, ഞാൻ ഒന്നുകൂടെ ഒന്ന് ഷെയർ ചെയ്ത് നോക്കാം.
മിസ് എന്നാലും PDF ആക്കിയിട്ടേ, PDF ആക്കാൻ
ആ.
എനിക്ക് തന്നെ എക്സ്റ്റേണൽ ആയിട്ട് തുറന്നുകൊണ്ട് അത് ചിലപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ വരാറുണ്ട്. ഇത് നാള് ഞാനൊരു പ്രസന്റേഷൻ ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ ഇതുപോലെ സംഭവിച്ചു.
ശരിയായിരുന്നു.
എനിക്കൊന്ന് അയക്കാവോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ?
ഞാൻ അയച്ചു തരാം. ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ഒരു ഇംപ്രഷൻ അനുസരിച്ച് നിങ്ങളത് കാണുന്നുണ്ട് എന്നായിരുന്നു.
ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ച്, പക്ഷെ മിസ് ഇച്ചിരി ലെങ്തി കോട്ട് വന്നപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് ഡൗട്ട് തോന്നി.
ഓക്കെ,
എനിക്ക് മെയിൽ അയച്ചാൽ മതി, ഞാൻ ഇപ്പൊ തന്നെ അത്. ഞാൻ ഇവർക്കൊരു വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പ് കൊടുത്ത്
ഇവർക്ക് തന്നെ
റിസർച്ച് മെത്തഡോളജി 20 സ്ലൈഡ് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പം എലന എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ കുട്ടി പറഞ്ഞു, സാർ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് സ്ലൈഡ് കാണുന്നില്ല.
ആദ്യമേ അത് കണ്ടില്ലായിരുന്നോ?
പോയറ്റിക് സ്പേസസ് കണ്ടു, പക്ഷെ
ഇപ്പോഴും അത് കാണുന്നുണ്ട്.
അടുത്തൊന്ന് മൂവ് ചെയ്താൽ വേണം. ഇപ്പൊ ഉണ്ട്.
ഓക്കെ, ഞാൻ നോക്കട്ടെ.
കാണുന്നുണ്ട് ഇപ്പൊ എല്ലാവർക്കും?
യെസ് സാർ, കാണാം.
സാർ.
ഓക്കെ, ഇപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ എന്താ കാണുന്നത്?
വൈ
വൈ
പോയിട്രി.
വൈ പോയട്രി ആണ് ഇപ്പൊ കാണുന്നത്. ഇപ്പോഴോ? ഇപ്പൊ വല്ലതും കണ്ടോ? മെറ്റഫർ ആൻഡ് കൾട്ടിവേഷൻ ഓഫ് ഇന്റിമസി വല്ലതും കാണുന്നുണ്ടോ?
ഇല്ല.
സോ ഐ ഗെസ് ഇത് സ്ലൈഡ് ഷോയിൽ ഇട്ടാലാണ് കാണാൻ പറ്റാത്തത്. ഇപ്പോഴോ?
ഇപ്പൊ കാണുന്നു.
ഓക്കെ, ഇപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾ കാണുന്ന ടെഡ് കോഹന്റെ അല്ലേ, മെറ്റഫർ ആൻഡ് കൾട്ടിവേഷൻ ഓഫ് ഇന്റിമസി, അതൊക്കെ അല്ലേ കാണുന്നത്?
അതെ അതെ.
Okay, so slideshow doesn't work. Okay. So this is Dan Shalotti. അത് കാണാലോ? Dan Shalotti, John Berryman, രണ്ടുപേരും കാണാമല്ലോ?
യെസ് മാം.
ഓക്കെ, സോ ഞാൻ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ചോദിക്കണോ? ലൈക്ക് വേണ്ടല്ലോ അല്ലേ? ഞാൻ ഈ സ്ലൈഡുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് കുറച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞായിരുന്നു. സോ ഐ ഗെസ് യു വെർ ലിസണിങ് ഈവൻ ദോ the slides were not visible. That's fine. Ted Cohen, what is the title of his work which you see on the screen now? Serious Larks. Okay, fine. Okay, but ഞാൻ ഓരോ സ്ലൈഡ് വരുമ്പോഴും ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ചോദിച്ചു പോകാം കേട്ടോ. So basically, so this is Ted Cohen, and what I was trying to say is he kind of invites, he kind of says, many other people have also made the same kind of observation that, it is always the participating spirit, the participatory spirit, which actually makes a poem possible. Just because somebody wrote down a couple of verses need not necessarily mean that a poem is written. A poem is not born likewise. A poem is born only when there is the participation of the reader in the process of signification. And there is like ചില സമയങ്ങളിൽ കുട്ടികൾ ചോദിക്കാറുണ്ട്, മിസ്സേ ഇത് തന്നെയാണോ ആ കവിതയുടെ അർത്ഥം? അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സംഗതി ഇല്ല. At least today we don't have. Okay, so especially when you do poetry critical appreciation, students ask me, they are afraid of attempting that particular essay question. So they come and ask me and say, അതാണോ അതിന്റെ അർത്ഥം എന്ന് അറിയത്തില്ല, പിന്നെ ഒരു ധൈര്യം ഇല്ല അത് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട്. There is nothing like, this is what the poet intended and that should be only what the reader also gets. No, it might be different. Of course, the dominant mood and the feeling would be the same, but each and every line or each metaphor will signify differently to the reader depending upon the reader's circumstances. Political agam, social agam, financial agam, convictions in the basis lagam, beliefs in the basis lagam. There will be wide number of significations possible, and that is how a community spirit is always established in the process of signification, which would definitely be multiple significations when it comes to reading poetry. Now next is what we'll be basically doing in this particular session. I would like to introduce you to what I have titled as poetry happenings. We have actually surpassed that genre kind of division or poetic form kind of divisions. Like, if you're all familiar with the Greek division of lyric, dramatic, and narrative. But we know today that the dramatic has lyric and narrative in it. Narrative is sometimes more dramatic than narrative. So you have actually, kind of transgressed those boundaries. So I also do not really want to spend much time in talking about the divisions in poetry, but rather what I would like to present before you is something which is available online and something which you can always refer to. But these are all certain poetic happenings or poetry happenings, as I would like to call those, which happen in our state, in our country, and also all across the globe. And this is the most common type of poetry, which we are all familiar with, which most of us, I guess Arya also would have attempted in writing. It's called ekphrastic writing ആണ് ഏറ്റവും common ആയിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഏറ്റവും നല്ല example ഞാൻ പറയാം. You might have all read Ode on a Grecian Urn. Ode on a Grecian Urn.
Yeah.
Can you tell? Okay, please tell me the poet who wrote Ode on a Grecian Urn.
Keats.
Keats ആണ്. So അതൊരു example for expresses ആണ്. Because what is Keats doing? Keats is describing an object, actually a work of art. He is describing an urn which carries the ashes of the dead, which he sees in a museum. And there is a boy about to kiss a girl, then a boy playing on a flute, an entire village going to sacrifice a cow. So these are the images on the urn. And then Keats finally says that it's an art, beauty stays forever. In real life, beauty just fades. So everything is permanent in art. So basically, there are two things which you need as a poet when you write an ekphrastic kind of a poem. One is power of observation. For instance, look at that painting on the screen. Can you see the painting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what do you see? Please tell me.
Girl is plucking flowers from
Plucking
garden.
flowers. Is she plucking flowers?
Or
Yeah,
she's just
okay.
holding it or admiring.
Okay, she's feeling the flowers anyway. Whether she's plucking or not, even I am a little bit confused. Okay, anyway, okay. So girl, flowers. Then what else do you see in the painting?
She is looking. She's not looking at the flowers, or seems to be lost in thought or
Very good.
contemplating.
Very good. She's not actually looking at the flowers. She appears to be lost in thought, or she is in a contemplative mode, maybe. Then anything else? What about the colors which you see in the painting?
This can be seen as peaceful colors, but maybe the girl is not having not so peaceful thoughts.
Okay, good.
She has a storm going through her mind, but everything outside looks so peaceful and happy.
Very good. Very good. Good observation, Arya. Okay. Then can you see something beneath the painting? For instance, Keats looked at the urn and he saw beneath the art, beneath the surface of the object, the work of art, and he brought out a philosophy, which is that everything is eternal only in art. കുമാരനാശാൻ ഒരു പൂവ് വീണ് കിടക്കുന്നത് കണ്ടിട്ട് ജീവിതത്തെ പറ്റി വലിയൊരു ഫിലോസഫി പറഞ്ഞു വെച്ചു. സോ അതാണ് എക്സ്പ്രസിസ്റ്റിക് റൈറ്റിംഗിന്റെ കാതൽ. So what I want you to do now is just to observe the painting for a couple of minutes and describe the two things. You have to actually write down, okay? വായിക്കേണ്ട വരുവേ. So please take a piece of paper, a pen, and you write down these two things. Number one, describe the vase in one line and make it as poetic as possible. ഞാൻ ഗേളിനെ അല്ല ഡിസ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറയുന്നത്. There is a vase which contains those white flowers and green leaves. So describe the vase. in just one line. And that line should be as poetic as possible, like up to your capacity. And that will definitely vary, that doesn't matter. പക്ഷെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എത്ര അതിനെ poetic ആക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ അത്ര ആക്കുക. Second thing, describe the mood of the poem. Mood of the painting, actually. I mean, or the dominant feeling behind the painting. ആര്യ ഇപ്പൊ കുറച്ച് അതിനെപ്പറ്റി ഒന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. So maybe you can talk about it in a couple of sentences. So I'll give you, say, 5 minutes. Sorry, 4 minutes. Describe the vase, describe the mood or feeling. I'll be calling out names, I guess. I can take the freedom right now. Shruti Jacob. Shruti Jacob. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you describe the vase, please? ശ്രുതി മ്യൂട്ടാണ്. എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ചോദ്യം ചോദിക്കുന്നതുകൊണ്ടാണോ ഓരോരുത്തർ ലീവ് ചെയ്തതെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയില്ല. എനിവേ, അലോണ ജോസ്, can you describe the vase? Yeah, can you describe that vase?
Yes, ma'am. Majestic and holding life, but lifeless.
Wow, very good. Majestic in holding life, but lifeless. Very good. Very good, Alona.
Thank you.
Somebody else, Fida? Fida? Fida കേൾക്കാമോ?
Hello?
പറഞ്ഞോളൂ. ഫിദയുടെ വോയിസ് ബ്രേക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ചാറ്റ് ബോക്സിൽ ടൈപ്പ് ചെയ്താലും മതി. ഐ ക്യാൻ സീ ദ ചാറ്റ് ബോക്സ് നൗ. ഫിദ ചാറ്റ് ബോക്സിൽ ടൈപ്പ് ചെയ്താൽ മതി കേട്ടോ, if you are ready with it. What about the second question? The dominant feel or the mood behind the painting or the poem? Manisha Manoj. Manisha Manoj. Manisha, are you there? Aksa Anna Jones അവിടെ ഉണ്ടോ? നിങ്ങൾ പേടിച്ചിട്ട് ഇരിക്കുന്നതാണോ അതോ are you really there or is it my problem? Am I audible to you? എന്നെ കേൾക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ? Okay. Okay, so Aksa, are you there? Or, okay, leave the question to the participants. Anybody can answer. What about the second question? Can you capture the mood or the emotion behind the painting? Or, I mean, if you can't, it's fine, okay. പെട്ടെന്ന് അങ്ങനെ ക്യാപ്ചർ ചെയ്യണമെന്നില്ല. ചിലപ്പോൾ ഇച്ചിരി നമ്മൾ കുറച്ചുകൂടെ സമയം എടുക്കും. ആദ്യമായിട്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ പെട്ടെന്ന് കിട്ടണമെന്നില്ല. It's fine.
Ma'am, the painting, like when we just see it first without observing much, it just shows an innocent picture. A girl, in the olden times, girls were the symbols of, you know, petiteness, gentleness, kindness. So a little girl holding her flowers with such peaceful colors. It's such a peaceful painting. But if you notice, as Alona said earlier, the deep dark soil, even though everything is beautiful, it's lifeless. There is no flavor in it, and no one is noticing the deep dark colors going on. Maybe the deep dark soil inside the golden vase, which can actually reflect ourselves in real life. How we all carry a mask, a facade of perfectness, smiling, positivity, but inside we also have our dark side, which the girl is showing through her face, because as famous people say, eyes are the windows to your soul. Your face shows emotions. So no matter how much we try to hide, our face, our emotions show the real us. So maybe.
Okay, good observation, Arya. Thank you so much. Maybe I'll just let you see what somebody else thought about the poem. But can you see it now? Can you see the slide? It's a poem by VJ Saraf. Can you see it? കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ? ഹെലൻ സിയേഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു പോയമാണ്. Can you see it? Yes. Okay, good. So there's something missing എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാണ് തുടങ്ങുന്നത്. So please go through the poem. This is what VJ Saraf wrote as an expresses kind of a writing or an ekphratic poem when he saw the object which was exhibited, the painting which was exhibited in a museum. Look at the last line. She is missing. Her eyes stare outside at what she is missing. So the man can paint. So basically, you actually captured what VJ Saraf also, kind of was trying to portray as the dominant mood of the painting, which he actually converted into the dominant mood or motive of the poem, which he wrote on Helen Sears. Now, how many of you are familiar with this kind of poetry? Anybody? At least one or two who have heard about blackout poetry? Slide visible ആണോ? Blackout poetryയുടെ slide visible ആണോ?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. ഇങ്ങനെ ഇത് കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ ഇതിനു മുമ്പ് ആരെങ്കിലും? ഇങ്ങനത്തെ പോംസ് കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? I don't think so because
Yeah, in social media, I've seen this once.
Yeah,
In a
on
textbook
social
also.
media കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്.
In
Yeah.
textbook also one time.
Okay,
Showing
good.
some new forms of poetry. Like, from what I understood that time is you can basically, anyone can create a version of a poem, like using their own thoughts and everything with words. So everyone can have their own way of observing or writing of it.
Okay, okay. So, would you like to know how this particular poems are? I mean, blackout poems are formed. Maybe I can share a video with you. ഞാൻ പറയുന്നതിനേക്കാളും നല്ലത് അതായിരിക്കുമെന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു. Um,
Art, and today we're going to be creating
കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ? കേൾക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ?
blackout poetry.
On the way.
Okay.
Everyone, Talia from Zart Art, and today we're going to be creating blackout poetry. So blackout poetry is an art form where you use a page of text. So this could be text from a magazine, a newspaper, a book, or you could print out your own text like I have here. So all you do is pick out a few words from the text. These words could work together to create a sentence, or they could be completely abstract. But all you need to do is pick out those words and highlight them in the page. So these are two very simple examples that I've created here. As you can see, you can choose to black out most of the page and keep your words visible, or you could just choose to block out sections, which will also make your words the focal point of the piece, but you still have a lot of text that is visible. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the process, and we're going to create a more complicated version of one of these blackout poetry pieces. So now we're just going to start off with a page of text. So this is an article about Frida Kahlo that I copied and pasted off the internet into a Word document and printed it out. If you've got something in your house that you can use, then definitely try and recycle something if you can. But otherwise, with your page of text, all you're going to do is with a pencil, map out some words that stand out to you. So these could just be words that you like, words that you're interested in. You can try and make a sentence from the start, or you can just pick out words here and there. So as I'm going, I'm just picking out words which stand out to me. Some are long words, some are quite simple words, but as I'm going through, I'm also looking to try and make a sentence. So I don't know what the whole sentence is going to be at the start, but if I pick words next to each other that make sense as we go along, then you'll find that you create your own sentence without even trying. Okay, so now I've picked out a few words and they make a sentence. They don't always have to make sense. Of course, you can just pick random words as well, but I'll stick with these words, and as you can see, I've just mapped them out in pencil. So with my marker, I'm going to start drawing some shapes, some patterns and forms around these words, making sure that I don't block them out. I've just got a nice thick permanent marker here. If you've got a texter, that will be fine too. And you might want to make sure you've got something underneath your paper, especially if you're working on a thin piece of cartridge, just so your black marker doesn't go through the other side. So I'm just going to find a nice big area of space, and I'm going to start drawing some flowers, some patterns and things. You might want to stick to a theme. So if your story says something about the moon or the ocean, then you might want to do a scene that incorporates a moon or a ship or some stars, something like that, if you do want to connect your poem to the imagery as well. Now I've drawn some of my larger images over the text. Now what I'm going to do is just draw a box around my highlighted words, or you could do a circle or another shape if you choose. But I'm just going to block those out, and then I'm going to just use lines and some other patterns over the rest of the words just to cover them a little bit so your eye is directly drawn to those words that I've highlighted. So now we've blacked out most of the words, and we can see that the words that we've chosen are still quite intense and they're very noticeable with that big broad mark that's around it. Now you could leave it as is if you like to work in black and white, but I'm just going to add a little bit of colour to these bigger forms because this will draw your eye away from some of the words that are within those forms, and it will make the work look a little bit more interesting with a pop of colour. So now I've finished my drawing, we've added a little bit of colour, we've got our poem here, intensely tumultuous paintings, once an important fantastical story. So we've tried to make a sentence, incorporate some of the images which will work with either the story that you're drawing over the top of or the poem you've created. So I've tried to use some bright colours in this, as Frida often would use some bright colours in her own works, as well as some flowers, not in her style, but just adding your own sense of style to it. But you could make lots and lots of different types of these blackout poetries. So you can completely black out the whole page so you can't see any of the other words at all. You can just do shapes and abstract forms, but it's really up to you. These are just a few options that you can go for. We hope you enjoyed this activity, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
So I guess you got an idea about what the blackout poetry is all about, which can even be colorful affair as you saw in the video. So basically what I would like you to do, and I'm not sure if Viju had passed you a sheet of words which I had actually sent him in the morning. ഒരു ഷീറ്റ് കിട്ടിയായിരുന്നോ? Okay, if you have it with you. Okay, can you just take it out? We cannot do the entire thing now because we're running short of time. Yeah.
ഞങ്ങൾ എല്ലാരും പ്രിന്റ് ഔട്ട് എടുത്തില്ല, അത് ഫോട്ടോ എടുത്ത് വെച്ചു. ഞങ്ങൾ വിചാരിച്ചു ഇങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യിക്കുവാണെന്ന് അറിയാത്തതുകൊണ്ട്.
Okay. That's Arela. What you can do right now is a photo. Okay. I mean, this is something which you can do as a homework, maybe, and then mail to Viju sir later. But I want you to do something now. Even, while looking at the photo, you can pick out the words. Like, വരികൾക്കിടയിൽ നിന്നും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേർഡ്സ് എടുക്കാനായിട്ട് പറ്റും. ആ വേർഡ്സ് മാത്രം എടുത്ത് നിങ്ങൾ സൈറ്റിലേക്ക് ഒന്ന് എഴുതി വെച്ചാൽ മതി. ആ പേജിനകത്തുള്ള വേർഡ്സിനകത്ത് നിന്നും ഒരു 5-6 വാക്കുകൾ ഒരുമിച്ച് കൂട്ടി വായിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഒരു സെന്റൻസ് കിട്ടണം. And that particular sentence should actually make out or it should actually capture the mood or the emotion you want to portray in the poem. See, basically why I wanted you to do this now is because this poem, the first one, Never Apologize for Manifesting Your Dreams, that was actually written by somebody called John Carroll. And John Carroll was in a pretty tough situation when he wrote that blackout poem. Personally and professionally, he was actually in the drains. So basically, he saw this particular thing called blackout poetry, and he was basically trying to black out his depression in the very process. So in an interview, he said, the daily meditative process of searching a page for meaning gave me the opportunity to reflect. And during those hard times, I felt like if I just kept hope in my heart that tomorrow would be better, then I can persist through today. Making blackout poetry opened the door to feeling hopeful again. So this is actually something, this blackout poetry actually became so much important during Corona times for many of the poets all across the globe, because they were so much sitting inside the room. They got many of the poets, they actually lost their passion for life because the number of deaths were increasing. Many of the people in the family were being affected, and poets always being those lonely figures, sentimental figures, they found it quite difficult to kind of adjust with the new corona pandemic situation. So blackout poetry was on the rise in the past year, though it was there right from 20th century onwards. That this is actually something which was experimented a lot online and offline during corona times. So what I want you to do is just to look at that screenshot or whatever you have with you, and write down maybe one line using words which you can pick out from the page. I hope how to make a blackout poetry is clear because you had watched the video. അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ ആ പേപ്പറിൽ നോക്കിയിട്ട് വേർഡ്സ് മാത്രം ഒന്ന് പിക്ക് ഔട്ട് ചെയ്യുക. Just make one sentence, which is basically the poetic line in the blackout poem, which you will complete later and email to Viju sir. Is that okay? ഒന്നും ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ? ആ സെന്റൻസസിനകത്ത് നിന്ന് ഒരു വരി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വാക്കുകൾ വെച്ച് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, please try. Let's see. I'll give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes is more than enough. For a change, I guess you can type the line in the chat box instead of reading it out. As in when you complete making one line or a phrase, maybe not even a complete line, that's okay. Can you just type it in the chat box? I guess the rest of you are still working out on words. I'm so happy that at least few of you could come up uh, with very creative words. And of course, I would definitely love you to really black out the other parts. Take a printout, black out the other sections, and kind of uh, experiment with it. I mean, you need not really follow the rules which you saw on the video right now. You can even experiment with it in other ways. Okay, thank you, Archana. Thank you, Elena. Good, very good. So you can even experiment in different ways. Why don't you bring out a manuscript magazine of blackout poems? I mean, just a random thought. I mean, this is something which is quite easy and something which you can bring out. In the video, she was actually blackening an article about Frida Kahlo. I'm sure that you've all watched the movie on Frida. And she said Frida used to use bright colors, and that is why I'm using bright colors. I'm trying to make it a little bit more bright rather than making it completely blackened. So in the same manner, you can choose a topic, you can choose a theme, you can even choose articles, critical reviews, articles on a particular theme, and black out the sections and bring out something which is much more beautiful than reading a dry critical paper. These are all different ways in which you can experiment with poetry. So yeah, with this, I guess I should move on because we got a few more slides to cover. Now, this is something which you are all familiar with, I'm sure. You're familiar with Ruby Kaur. So I'm sure that you know what digital poetry is all about.
Presentation.
Okay, sorry. Thank you, Viju. Okay, can you see the slide? Is it okay? Slide കാണാലോ അല്ലേ?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Please stop blackening the page and come back to the presentation. You can, of course, do it. I'm so happy that you are attempting. Please kindly finish it later. Digital world or technology plus poetry is all about digital poetry, where you can incorporate photos, paintings, videos all together along with verses. And this is again something which I took from Ruby Kaur, and I'm sure that you're all familiar with Ruby Kaur's Milk and Honey and the My Sun and Her Flowers, etc., and other kinds of books. So you get somebody writing and also sketching at the same time. This is from Noor Unnahar. Noor Unnahar is a Pakistani poet. I had actually mentioned her name in the last poetry session, which I took last year also. And this is actually a page from her blog. So this is how she actually does poetry. She not only writes down poetry, but she's a good photographer too. And also she's an artist. So she combines photography, art, and poetry together in a single page. So that is how Noor Unnahar does her work. And writing tips: you should be extremely, I would say, talented and creative if you want to do digital poetry, because you need to think outside the box, outside the regular parameters, and you should be ready to think beyond traditional ways of representing, traditional ways of poetry writing. If you still believe that poetry should follow meter, rhythm, rhyme, etc., then I'm sorry, digital poetry is not such a good field for you. But in the 21st century, we need to realize that poetry is constantly evolving. It is constantly changing, it is evolving, and definitely you should be able to think beyond the traditional forms of poetry. I say this because there are critics out there who criticize Ruby Kaur, Unnahar, Amanda Lovelace, etc., for bringing out such experimental kind of digital poetry. So that is why I say that people who would like to venture into technology and poetry, bringing together poetry and technology, or moving into a digitized world of poetry, should be able to think beyond the traditional structures of poetry. Now, poetry installations. I'm sure that at least a few of you would have visited Binale and you would have seen the installations. In 2015, there was an exhibition in Kochi where S. Kalesh's Shabda Mahasamudram was one of the installations, one of the poetry installations, which came up then. And it was supposed to be, I guess, India's first poetry installation seminar. So poetry installations basically bring into life poetry. Basically, if you are a poet and an artist combined, then you can do the installation by yourself. But usually it is a combined project. It is a collaborative project which includes a poet and an artist. So there'll be a poet who writes down a poem and an artist who, kind of brings in an installation to bring life to the poem which has been written down. So maybe I can show you something from a person who you are all familiar with, none other than Joey Matthew. So അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ കവിതകൾ ഇൻസ്റ്റലേഷൻ ആയത് എങ്ങനെയൊന്ന് ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് കണ്ടു നോക്കാം. I hope you can see. കാണാലോ അല്ലേ?
Yes, ma'am.
ഇത് 2015 ഐ ഗെസ് 2017 കേട്ടോ ഈ ഒരു എക്സിബിഷൻ നടന്നത്. So basically this is how poetry installations are done, and I'm pretty sure that you're all familiar with such installations. This can be actually taken to another level if you actually do digital installation. Now this is actually something which was done in 1999, and the title was Text Rain. This was a project which was done by Kamel Utabak and Romy Akitu. I'll just show you how they try to digitize poetry. I mean, people would be invited to stand in front of a screen wherein their faces, their body would be projected, and they'll find the words raining down on them. So initially you would only feel that these are just alphabet or letters which rain down on you, but gradually you understand that these are actually poems which are raining down on you, and if you can catch them, you can actually make words out of them. So these were kind of interactive installations which which were actually made with the aim to help people to start appreciating poetry more, like poetry as something which interacts with you and not as a dry subject. So maybe I can share this one also with you. Kanalo?
You might find your center, where 3 historic rivers meet.
Sorry, this is an advertisement. It'll end in 23 seconds.
Palmetto Bluff lets the land
Can you
guide
see
your
it?
adventure.
കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ screen?
Yes, ma'am.
20,000 acres of verdant forest. Create something unexpected for everyone. Palmetto Bluff, it never leaves you.
Viju, can you അത് സ്റ്റക്ക് ആണ്. മറ്റേ അതൊന്ന് പ്ലേ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ ആ വീഡിയോ? ഒരു സ്മിത്സോണിയൻ മാഗസിനിൽ വന്ന ഒരു വീഡിയോ.
സൗണ്ട് ഒരു പ്രശ്നം.
Technology helps us connect with other people and distances us from other people. As an artist, I'm really interested in if there are ways that I can use that same technology to help us be more in our bodies and more aware of other people. An interactive installation usually means there's a computer or a microcontroller running the piece with a set of rules. So it changes or reacts to what people are doing in the space. How I create that reaction is with software that I write. I'm really watching with the software what people are doing or how they're moving and then creating some visual output. TextRain is an interactive installation that was a collaboration between Romy Ashatov and myself. When we created the piece in 1999, I was really frustrated about how limited computers were and how they didn't engage more of our physical selves. In the TextRain piece, people walk into a room and see themselves projected on a screen. But there's something strange happening, which are these colored letters falling through the projection. And if you spend any amount of time there, you realize that you can catch the letters. They're landing on your head, they're landing on your arms. And so people hopefully start engaging physically with these letters and realize eventually it's not just random letters, it's actually words from a poem, Talk You, by poet Evan Zimroff.
TextRain is a critically important interactive work of art. It's a work that really set the stage for how we engage in a museum space. And it really belongs at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. Watch This, Revelations in Media Art traces artistic engagements with technology from 1941 to the present. When you're looking at a 19th century painting, it's really a personal experience. TextRain is quite a bit different. It's really begging you to interact with your neighbor and to communicate with one another and to use your body to physically engage the space around you as much as intellectually read the work of art.
What we were trying to do with TextRain was to create this artistic experience. It was quite hard at the time because computers were really slow and we weren't necessarily computer scientists. The rule for TextRain is that the letter is just trying to fall. And if there's something dark, it moves up. So that's a really, really simple rule that creates this complex illusion. As a result of our method of creating a system that letters could land on people, Romy and I are the inventors on a US patent.
Artists have an exchange with technology that is unique.
Viju, I guess that's
They're
enough.
inventive.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted you to get an idea of it. If you get time, we can go through the entire video. I just want to move to a couple of things more and then we can call it a day. This is something which you are all familiar with. This is called, this is something which I'm sure everybody's familiar with, so I'll just rush through it, which is Poetry Slam. Basically combining performance, audience participation, writing, competition, all into poetry, bringing poetry back to what it was. Actually, it was only during Renaissance that people began to sit down and write down poems. Till Renaissance, poetry was always recited. Basically recited and often to the accompaniment of a lyre. This is exactly what happens in Poetry Slam. In slam poetry, you are actually performing. You need to be a performer if you are a poet. You have to perform it. You have your facial expression, your body language. Then, of course, if possible, a musical accompaniment. All that is important when you do Poetry Slam. And usually you have to slam the idea in and people pick out socially relevant themes. So even though I really wanted to show a slam poem, I'm not really going to do this now because we are running out of time. I'll just paste the link here. You just watch it at leisure, whenever you get time later. So basically this is all about slam poem and this is something which you're all familiar with. Now this one, I'm sure that you have all heard about Maya Angelou. You might have read this poem, Still I Rise. I've just copied a few lines from Still I Rise. Please go through it quickly and silently. So I'll present before you something which was presented by a group of dancers who actually converted this poem into Bharatanatyam. So how Bharatanatyam was used as a medium to portray a poem. കാണാലോ അല്ലേ?
Yes, ma'am.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like life, I'll rise. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't take it awful hard, just 'cause I laugh. Does it come as a surprise that I dance just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I rise. Out of the hut of history's shame I rise, up from a past rooted in pain. I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling. I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise.
Okay, I guess you would have found out that to be one of the ways in which you can transgress not only disciplinary boundaries but also geographical boundaries. A poet who wrote in another geographical clime, getting represented in another geographical space, another cultural space. So this is how really uh, uh, poetry cuts across disciplinary boundaries. So there is something else which I want you to see. This is called Poem Portraits. Now, this was actually an experimental work which was done wherein around 1,500 poets, guests actually, who were there at a summer party were actually asked to contribute one word so as to make a community poem, an ever-evolving collective poem. And this is how they kind of did it. Maybe I can share that screen and we can call it a day.
Good question.
Is it visible?
Devlin.
According to Wikipedia.
Yes, ma'am.
Devlin.
According to Wikipedia, Esmeralda Devlin is a London-based artist and stage designer who works in a range of media.
Poem Portraits invites everyone to contribute, to donate a word to a collective poem.
Chaos.
Unequal.
Complex. Ascending.
The poem is generated by means of an algorithm that's trained on 20 million words of 19th century poetry. So each word that you add to it will combine with words that have been added by others and with the words of those who were writing a few centuries ago.
Recollections of the binding sky, art thou alone.
AI is basically another part of the team. It's another thing we're collaborating with. I work closely with Google Arts and Culture and with their creative technologist, Ross Goodwin.
The algorithm is pretty simple to explain, actually. It's a machine that has learned its own algorithm for writing. It learned what words are by looking at patterns of characters over and over again until it could predict the statistical probabilities that a word would occur.
In 2016, I was at the Serpentine Galleries and I was invited to talk with Hans Ulrich Obrist about something we could do for their Serpentine Gala.
Everybody who came actually was invited to donate a word and then got actually an image back.
We talked for a long time about how could we get it online so that everybody could take part.
unequally descending at the full cloud, the freshness of the tide. That's kind of got like a 1970s hippie kind of vibe going, I feel. Quite psychedelic.
It's almost like fortune cookies. You try with one word, you get one poem, and then you want to roll the dice again.
In the last conversation we had with her, Zaha said there should be no end to experimentation, and that is a wonderful motto we think of every day, and it's also a wonderful motto actually for the poem Portrait.
Have a play with it, because what you'll find is that it's in your interaction with this algorithm that the fun and actually the poetry starts to happen.
So there should be no end to experimentation. That is exactly what I would like to tell you also. You should start experimenting with poetry, not with the traditional way in which poems are written, but should start experimenting. You know, there is, I just want to show you something which somebody experimented with in 2020, especially after the COVID-19 struck. He is called Arjun Thapar. Arjun Thapar, you know, on June 2020 also. Feb to June, between February and June, he actually made random calls over internet to poets to bring out poems written in tri-triplicatum medium. Now, people did not really know what tri-triplicata is. And there was a question which was asked to him, you know, like, does the world need another poetic form? And this was the answer. He said, no, the world does not need another poetic form, but I really do. Because I've been writing sonnets and haiku and you know, the traditional kind of thing. And I think I need to experiment with poetry. I need to bring out something which would actually be a bridge between haiku and sonnet, which can actually, you know, create something else which is different from whatever that has been written down. So he actually brought out 5-line poems. The first line would have 3 syllables, second 6 syllables, third 9 syllables, fourth 6 syllables and 3 syllables. So after random calls, you know, people started making tri-triplicata poems. For example, the first one, second one, Charlene Maroon. Just count the number of syllables. Unopened, no forwarding address. My guardian angel abandoned. His post missives remain unanswered. So the rhyme, I mean, the syllabic counts were properly maintained as 3, 6, 9, 6, 3. And if you look at the second poem, you can find that in the fourth line, the third line runs into the fourth line so as to maintain that syllable. So people are actually experimenting with poetry. And then again, this is going back to the traditional kind of poetry, you would say, because you're counting the number of syllables. That is fine, because as long as you really want to experiment with something, that means you haven't lost the power of creativity. You really want to bring out the new and the best. You're still on the search or look out for something new. So as Beselis College students who have attended creative writing workshop on poetry, this is what I want to tell you. Experiment with poetry and make it a collective experiment. You can even think on a collective mode. You can even move outside, you know, the college. You can even, you know, as a collective moment, you can pick out random people from random backgrounds, bring them together, take out a word from each of them, or you can even think about installations. You can even think about merging poetry, painting, art, etc. together, and even holding an online exhibition or an offline exhibition. There are several ways in which you can really enrich poetry, because there is no end to creativity. Now, there is one channel which I have subscribed and which I often watch, which is what I want to end with. And I really want to show one poem which was featured on this channel called Ilneas. This is run by a young man from Greece. His real name is Phineas. He's got many followers on YouTube and also on Instagram. And a long time back, I had the opportunity to chat with him on Instagram, and I asked him, why do you do this? And he said, because I love poetry. What he does is he actually gives videographic representations of poetry. You know, maybe I can show you one. This is actually a poem which I like a lot by Charles Bukowski, and this is how Ilneas has actually captured the poem.
know, I've either had a family, a job, something has always been in the way. But now, I've sold my house. I found this place, a large studio. You should see the space and the light. For the first time in my life, I'm going to have a place and the time to create. No, baby. If you're going to create, you're going to create whether you work 16 hours a day in a coal mine, or you're going to create in a small room with 3 children while you're on welfare. You're going to create with part of your mind and your body blown away. You're going to create blind, crippled, demented. You're going to create with a cat crawling up your back while the whole city trembles in earthquake, bombardment, flood, and fire. Baby, air and light and time and space have nothing to do with it. And don't create anything except maybe a longer life to find new excuses for.
So with that, and without adding anything extra to the power of creativity, let me stop and thank you all for your patient listening and also for watching. I know that just one and a half hours or even 2 hours of poetry workshop is not going to make you a good poet tomorrow, and I know that you are not going to start writing poetry from tonight onwards. But all that I hope for is that at least this session would have ignited a spark in you, and you would not stop with experimenting. You would try to combine all the skills in you. Please don't think that poetry is all about writing alone. That's what I wanted to convey through this particular session. It's not simply writing alone. It's writing, it's performing, it's painting, it's dance, it's music. It's all together. It's just transgressing the normality of life. So please accept that power of poetry, that creative power of poetry, and combine all that you have in you and experiment with poetry and bring out the best. The best is yet to be. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Miss.
I would like a much detailed feedback. Don't put your quick thank yous and leave. Because this session I was also enjoyed. I tried to write my own blackboard poetry in the guise of Dr. Rajaram Menon. Yeah, okay, let me maybe call upon Arya Thomas, who have been participating heartily. Arya, would you like to say a few words?
Okay, so I'm a bit awkward. I also like the section very much. Like, even I write in a daily basis. Like, if I have a traumatic event or anything. Like, so poetry has helped me a lot, and because it's like seeing something which I love. So we all should understand that poetry is, as ma'am said, it's up to us actually. We can bring our own definition to poetry. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the class. It was really informative and interesting.
Thank you, Arya.
One more person, maybe.
So can I?
Of course, yes, Abhi.
Ma'am, actually, it was a very interesting session. Like, we got to know very various branches of poetry. I didn't know about blackout poetry or anything, so it really benefited, and I really enjoyed attending the session.
Thank you, AB. And I'm so happy that at least I heard a man in between. I thought it was, until I heard AB's voice, I was under the impression it was only women over here. Because I'm used to, women students because I teach in a women's college. So thank you so much for the response. And I'm really happy that at least one of you was a man and you were listening so carefully. So thank you so much. And also I should say something about Arya and also about all those people who responded in between. You have got that creativity inside you. You are all creative because reading random lines. I gave you worksheets on and off. Like അങ്ങനെ കുറേ പഠിക്കാനായിട്ടുള്ള സമയം തന്നില്ല. Just 4-3 minutes-നുള്ളിൽ if you can bring out such good lines, I'm sure that you can, as a collective group, you can bring out something better. So ഈ creative writing workshop തീരുമ്പം I'm suggesting to Viju, if possible, try to make them bring out writing തന്നെ ആവണമെന്നില്ല, in writing തന്നെ വേണമെന്നില്ല. Poetry ആണെങ്കിലും വേറെ യാനേഴ്സ് ആണെങ്കിലും you can actually experiment with something and bring all this together and make it more accessible to the public. നിങ്ങളുടെ ടാലൻസ് ഒക്കെ അങ്ങനെ പബ്ലിക്കിന് കൊടുക്കത്തക്കവണ്ണം ഒരു ഇവന്റ് ആക്കി അതിനെ മാറ്റുവാണെങ്കിൽ I guess that would be really good.
One of the things definitely that is going to come out is the Blackout Poetry magazine. It was a big mistake from my part. I asked them to take printout, but when they said, sir, we'll take photos and we'll distribute, I said, okay. I was exactly sure what was up. If I gave them a printout, okay, at least my part is clear.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, you can even experiment, on screen. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വാട്സാപ്പിൽ മറ്റേ ഇങ്ങനെ ബ്ലാക്ക് ഔട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമല്ലോ, വാട്സാപ്പിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ വെച്ച് വേണമെങ്കിലും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ചെയ്യാമല്ലോ. So it's
No, I think we can give them so that can come out as something that's very nice. So there are so much genres to within poetry itself that so much new things are coming up. I have not been part of. I have attended Vinaya, and I did go through that thing. It was such an exhilarating performance just to go through that experience of experiencing poetry, not just read or listen. Or there are newer ways to experience that. So thank you for reminding that. Also exposing students to such a wide variety of poetical forms and poetical experiencing, poetical happenings. So from the Department of English and from the creative writing group, as well as on my personal behalf, I thank you, Nitya, for this wonderful session. 2 hours just went by. I saw some students running off to dinner because the hostel had very strict dinner rules and all, but I have seen that they all come back within 5 minutes. So that I think that says something about the class. I'm so happy that you have come, accepted my invitation and have come. So yes, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for this very interesting session. I didn't miss a line. I have been part throughout. Thank you so much.
See, I would like to say something which Sophocles said. He said, even if a person is not blessed with a muse to become a poet, if that person has, a degree of madness inside him, he or she will, definitely become a poet. That is a sure ticket to poetry. So I invite all the 12 participants here to be mad and become poets, because madness is basically the core of poetry. So ഇച്ചിരി വട്ടം ഇച്ചിരി പ്രാന്തം ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നല്ല കവിയാകാൻ പറ്റും. അത് ഡേഞ്ചറസും ആണ്. So use it mildly. Be wild, but be, wildly mild also. So thank you so much. Thank you, Viju. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Students, there is a feedback session. There is a form. Don't run away. Quickly mark the form. I think people are left. No. Yes, you can mark your. It's not an attendance. It's a feedback form plus attendance. So thank you all for participating. I hope you had a very wonderful session today. Thank you all for joining even in this late hour. I hope none of you missed your dinner, but it's not much of a sacrifice for a good session of poetry.
Yeah, apologies on my part if you have missed your dinner.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
If you marked your feedback, you can leave. Thank you. Thank you all.